Well, take a look at this jewelry organizer that I made for my wife for Easter. I made her this little gift because she was in need of organizing her necklaces and bracelets. You know, things with long chains are often hard to store. And we were in Goodwill and we seen this old mirror that was cracked, and we thought that I could transform it into something useful. And here it is. I think it come out pretty good. Hang out and I'll show you how I built it. This mirror is going to be the basis for our project. I picked this up at the thrift store for like $5. I think it's a mirror for a dresser. You know, it's got hooks on the back where you can mount it to the wall, but I'm pretty sure it came off a dresser. And I thought it was unusual and interesting, so I picked it up. Now it's got a big break here, but that's not going to matter for what we're going to do. So the first thing that I needed to do was cut some wood. I wanted to cut one to cover that up, so I took some wood that I had left over from another project and I made it just fit in there to cover that up, just like that. And I actually cut two, one for the top and one for the bottom. And I figured from the top you could hang the bigger necklaces, the longer ones. So like here, you know, something like that. And to do that, I have these hooks. These are teacup hooks. You get a whole pack of them for $5. They're brass and they screw in, so I can put a whole bunch of those here. And then on the bottom, I thought that would be a convenient place to put bracelets. You know, she has a bunch of bracelets as well, and they would hang from there. And for those, I picked these hooks up. These were only 79 cents for a pack of 4. I got their last 4 packs. There's 2 of the bigger ones and 2 of the smaller, so I figured I'd put 4 of the larger ones like that, and then, you know, 8 of the smaller ones in the center like that, going across. And I was looking at this and I thought it might be interesting if I had a little shelf on here. So I cut one more piece of wood, and I thought it might be interesting if I put that right here, like this. That way you'd have a little shelf you could put watches or rings or anything like that up here that, you know, you wanted to put on a shelf. And I thought, too, I could round this off if, you know, add a little more character to it. I could just take a saw and round this off. Wouldn't have to, but it might add to it a little bit. And then glue all this together, and then I would be done. The only other thing would be the color of this wood. I want it to match this antique style looking wood. So I grabbed some stains that I had laying around and I played with a scrap piece of wood. You can see my colors don't even match, even with several coats. But I did get it to match over here on this side. And what I used for that was this. This is just shoe polish. It's in brown, liquid shoe polish, and I used 2 coats on the scrap piece, and I think that matches pretty well. So if this wood looks like that, I think I'll be happy with that. So anyway, let's get measuring out this wood, marking it up for our hooks. And what I plan to do is mark it with a nail. Once I find the center of all these, just take a nail and make an indentation, and then I'll sand them smooth and finish them, and then I'll put my hooks in last, and I'll be able to see that nail mark where these go. I think that'll be the best way to go about this. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with our project. My wood is 22.5 inches long, so I'm going to put that in here. And I think I should come in at least 3/4 of an inch to put my first hook. So I'm going to subtract 0.75. That gives me 21.75 inches to work with. And if I put the hooks about 3/4 of an inch apart, let's see if that goes in evenly. 0.75. Yeah, it works out exactly 29 hooks. So that's what I'll do. I'll come in 3/4 of an inch this way, and I'll run 29 hooks 3/4 of an inch apart, and I've got 40 hooks to work with, so that'll work out perfectly. And then for my bottom ones, what I can do is go every other hole, because I only have 16 of those hooks. Sounds like a plan. So I'm going to take and I'm going to make a mark 3/4 of an inch down. I got a really sharp pencil here because I want really straight lines. Use this board to make a line. Here's my line. Then I'm going to very carefully start marking this out. 3/4 of an inch. All along the way. Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 26, 27, 28, 29. Perfect. Now you can use a nail to do this if you want to, but I have this thing, it's called a center punch. And it has a spring in there. This was $3 or $4. I got this at Harbor Freight. And I'll show you on a scrap piece of wood. When you take it and you press down, the spring engages and it marks the wood. You can see a little mark there. And these are useful for marking things before you drill them. And what I want to do is just make it so I can see where the marks are to put my screws when I erase and sand my wood. So I'm just going to carefully go along this whole line and mark every one of these. Right on the mark. You see that? There we go. I have 29 little holes. Now what I'm going to do is take my pencil eraser and get rid of this line. And then I'm going to get my sandpaper and I'm going to sand these nice and smooth and get them ready for polish. On my other board that is below, what I plan to do is do this procedure again, and I'm just going to go every other hole. So I'm going to skip a hole because I only have 16 hooks. So that's what I'm going to do now. So there. Now I'm just going to take some sandpaper and sand these really good. So I have all my pieces pretty well sanded, and I'm ready to assemble my little shelf. So I'm going to take my bottom piece, the piece that has the holes that are further apart from my bracelet, and attach the little top shelf here, like this. And I've just started my nails in. I'm just using, these are called 3D Bright Finish nails. And you can see I've put 3 in. I just tapped them in part way. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue up here, and then I'm going to finish it off by just tacking them in. I'm just using a little bit of wood glue. This is Tight Bond, but any kind works fine. You could even use Elmer's if you don't have wood glue. When the glue dries, that's actually what's going to hold the shelf together, and the nails are just there to keep it held together till the glue dries. Your strength is in your glue. Okay. So I'm just going to line this up in here and smack it down. Make sure it's lined up. Get this side started. So there it is. Let that wood glue dry, and then we'll sand it a little bit more, and then I'm going to start staining. Well, our glue's dry, and I hit it with sandpaper one more time just to be sure that I got all the rough spots off. So it's time to start staining with my shoe polish. So here we go. I'm going to do 2 coats. There's 1 coat, and I put it on the back and on the sides too, because this is going to be sitting right on top of a mirror, and if there's a little gap under there, you know, you're going to see white space if I don't get polish on all of it. So that's the reason why I also did, you know, on the edges, all the way around on the edges, just in case you do see a little bit of it. It'll be dark in that area. So yeah, there you go. Shoe polish is a stain. A little bit messy, but I think it's going to do the job just fine. I'm going to let this coat dry, and I'm going to come back and do another coat. Well, I got the stain done on both of these pieces, so the only thing left to do is start putting in hooks. Well, that was a little bit fun. There they are, 29 hooks. That's a lot of hooks. Wow. Well, anyway, that's done. Now I can go ahead and turn my attention to the little shelf that we're working on here. As said earlier, I have 2 different types. I have these larger ones, then I have the smaller ones. So I'm going to put the larger ones on the outside. And they're a little bit angled, these. They push right in, hopefully. Let's see. There we go. Just needed to give it a little push with the pliers. So anyway, let's go ahead and get all those in. So there it is. I kind of like these little push-in ones. They're not bad at all. Actually, they're a lot easier than the screw-in. Getting really close now. Let's assemble the whole thing. Well, this is the most exciting part for me. We're going to go ahead and glue our pieces on here now. And I'm going to go ahead and just use this hot glue. I've got the extra strength bond glue here, so we'll use that. It's known to hold really well, so that's what I'm going to use. That fits in. I'm going to use a couple pieces of wood here to give me a line for my glue, so I don't put too much glue on the glass, you know. So I'm just going to put glue everywhere. Right in here. I suppose I could have used silicone, but I think this will work good. Right side up. No going back now. Let's make sure it's pushed all the way down. I'm going to put a little bit on the ledge here because I don't have any glass to hold it in. So it'll help just a little bit there. Alright, last piece. And we're in. Looks pretty good. Let this dry for a few minutes and get it up on the wall. I like it. I'm pretty happy with the way that this project came out, and to think this was a broken old mirror that was ready for the junk pile just a couple weeks ago. So I hope you got some use out of this video. I encourage you to make your own. You can use a lot of old scrap material to build something like this. You could use an old drawer or shadow box, or painting or mirror like what I used here. And it only cost a few bucks. I think I've got about $15 in this total, and that includes everything. So thanks for watching. Leave us a comment, let me know what you think, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.